Good day, y'all. What time of year is it? It's October. That means it's Halloween and Thanksgiving time. It's pumpkin pie time or pumpkin spice muffin time. So I got some little pumpkins here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix my puree so I'll have it to go in my pumpkin pies or my pumpkin spice muffins. I'm simply going to take a small pumpkin. You can take any size pumpkin you want. These are just happens to be the ones I've got. And yeah, I always draw a little Halloween face on them. So they'll be kind of interesting until I get ready to cut them. I'm going to do my best to cut this stem off. There we go. I think I need my longer knife. Maybe this one. And then we're just going to cut it in half, basically, if at all possible. Because one thing we have now is our convenience of having microwaves. And these things have a ton of seeds in them. And if you plant gardens, you want to save your seeds. I usually always save my seed. And just take you a spoon, tablespoon or whatever, and just kind of scrape out your seed. They come out fairly easy. Sometimes you just have to dig your hands down in there. And I mean, you get a ton of seeds. And these are the little pumpkins, the pie pumpkins. So I wanted to save the seeds out of these. I've got seeds for the big pumpkin, but not this little pie pumpkin. So I'm thinking maybe I'll have a better chance of growing the pie pumpkin here rather than the bigger ones. And it's kind of messy. As you can see, they come right out. And if you can, you want to get some of that stringy center out. Because we don't need all that stringy center in our pie. And you might not be able to get it all out until it's cooked. Because it comes out in strings like. And we'll keep some of that separate because it's still got seeds in it, but yeah, sometimes you get the most of it out that you can, and then after you cook it, you can get the rest of it out before you scoop your puree for your pumpkin pie. Cut that in because it's got some in it, but I need like a little knife thing to go down in there. My spoon is not quite sharp enough to get under those strings. So therefore I'm going to leave some of them and I'll just do it later. After I cook it, I'll worry about getting all of those out. But you can see I'm just cut that little end. That's where the stem is. That'll help some of that come loose. There is just tons of seeds in these things. I mean, you could plant a whole pumpkin patch with that many seeds. If you're in an area where you can get them to produce. You can roast your pumpkin seeds. Some people like to roast them. You know, wash them and get all the little pieces of pumpkin off and actually roast their pumpkin seeds and eat them. I've never really gotten into that, but you can. And I love nuts, don't get me wrong, but I just never roasted a pumpkin seed before. And like I said, just scrape it out the best you can. If you got kind of a sharp scoop, which I don't have, all I got is a spoon, it will get most of it out. But then you can get some of it out after you cook it. I mean, you can see the stringy stuff in there. That's what I'm trying to get out. I guess we could bring the camera closer so you could see more about what I'm doing here. See it a little bit closer up. It kind of reminds me of a spaghetti squash because it's got all these strings. But these strings, you know, they're just there between the seeds. So usually you can just go so far down to get them out, and the rest is just pumpkin flesh. Just do the best you can with it. And there's another whole ball of just the string. And too, if you're a little bit stronger than I am, you can get it out more than I do. I don't have that much strength in my hands, my arms to do that, so. Ooh. And you'll need a, you see all those seeds? Look at that, tons of seeds. And like I said, you can save them to plant for the next year, or you can roast them, whichever you like to do. Now I'm simply going to cut this. Ooh, kind of hard to cut. Pumpkin because it's not easy. I don't think we're going to get all of it in there. Because I don't have a real big dish. And it's a good thing if you don't have a lid, is to wrap it with saran wrap to make it airtight. I'm going to put my baking lid on the top because this is a microwave proof dish. And then we're going to come right over here to the microwave. Back over here. We're going to put it in there for 7 minutes. And mine is set on high. So, and if the 7 minutes is not long enough, just put it in there for a few more minutes. It just depends on how hard that pumpkin is, how long it's going to take it to cook. But this is better to me than having to put it in a pot and boil it forever, because I don't like to do that. Microwaves are so neat because they speed up your cooking times. So you don't have to spend a whole long time trying to cook your pumpkin for your pie. And like I said, I've got 2 pumpkins, but I'm not sure I'm going to cut both of them right now. I'm going to see how much pumpkin I come out of just with the one bigger one, and take it from there. Go ahead and be cutting this one up because I'll have to put this one in when the other one gets through. And I didn't move the camera back so you could see what I was doing over here. I'm just cutting this other one up a little so I can put it in the bowl. And you should be able to get those skins right off of it as soon as it's cooked. If it's cooked done enough, it will. The peelings will come right off. And if not, you can scoop it out a lot easier with it being cooked than before it was cooked. So there, I got that half cut, ready to go. Makes your fingers slimy. I tell you, cooking is not for the squeamish, is it? It's got a few more minutes to go. Yeah, this is so much easier than having to put your pumpkin in a pot and boil it, or put it in the oven and bake it. I mean, it makes everything go so fast, so much faster. But man, that's a lot of seeds right there. And what I'm going to do is spread those out in a pan or plate like this. And I'm going to let them dry. And then I'll store them and have them to plant next year. A couple more minutes. In fact, I'll go ahead and show you while that pumpkin's cooking what I'm going to do with my seeds. Because you need to get as much of that pumpkin off the seeds as possible. And they will stick to your fingers. It doesn't matter. But you know, I really need to wash them first. Forgot about that. I'm going to put them in a colander. We'll see if we can wash them a little bit. That might help separate them a little. And I'm getting a mess because I've got pumpkin seeds everywhere. This will help loosen a lot of it off and wash away a lot of it that's not extremely stuck to the seed. Like the juices, so to speak. And if you throw those seeds in your compost, it will come up. Because one year I threw the whole pumpkin with seeds and everything in it. After I got the flesh, you know, for the pumpkin pie. And I had pumpkin vines growing out of my compost pile. I mean, they died later because it started getting so hot weather. But they did come up in the in the compost. To see there, once you wash it, you can get a lot of the pulp off of the seeds. Ooh. And that's running hot. I don't want hot. But it comes off a lot easier to just put it in a colander or a strainer and rinse them off. You can get a lot of that pulp out. I mean, the seeds come off so much easier that way. And like I say, you can put them in a colander too. I just grabbed the first thing that was closest to me. Drain them some. I think I'll put another layer of towel. Because they are a little wet. See? And all I did was rinse them off in the colander. And most of that stuff will come right off. And what didn't come off, you can pull out, you know, that sticks to the bottom of the colander. You can just take it out with your fingers after you get it in the dish. And it's just that easy, y'all. Yeah, I've got pumpkin seeds right there to dry. Like I said, you can either roast them to eat, or you can do both. You can keep a handful of them to plant for the next year, and then you can roast them. It's just totally up to you. Whatever you like to do with them. And I like to rinse this off because that stuff will get dried on that screen and it will be hard as dickens to get it off. But there you go. I'm just going to leave them set on the counter or on the table, anywhere you want to leave them till they dry. You need to like flip them over occasionally. Make sure your paper towel is drying out, it's not staying wet. And just leave them for several days until they get good and dry. And you got pumpkin seed for next year. Now, let's see how our pumpkin is doing in this microwave. We'll see if it's cooked enough or do we have to put it back in. It seems like it's cooked enough, but it's going to have to cool. So I'm going to take each one of these pieces out. Let it cool on this plate while we cook our other one. Because it's so hot right now, I really don't want to handle it with my fingers. But I think that one pumpkin will do me a pumpkin pie. And we're just going to put the other ones in. Put the lid on. Put it in the microwave for 7 minutes. And you want that on high for 7 minutes. How easy is that to cook pumpkin to go ahead and put in for your pumpkin pie? And I do suggest you use a spoon or something to get the pumpkin out with. But in most cases, the peeling will come right off. And unless you got a lot of the strings that you need to get out, and sometimes you can put those strings with your rest of your pumpkin in your blender, and it'll blend them right up. But if you do want to clean it out a little bit more, you can. Just take your spoon and kind of run it across the top of it. Don't do it too hard or you'll scoop out all your pumpkin. But see here? You just take your peeling. And that peeling will, still pretty hot. That peeling will come right off. See that? And then you just throw your pumpkin right in your bowl. It's a lot easier doing it this way than it is other ways I've tried it. It's a lot easier getting a lot of the strings out. because that pumpkin is kind of hard when it's raw. Because that peeling stays pretty intact. Here's some more of the strings. Now I know a lot of you that are watching this video probably say, well, you know, everybody knows how to do that. Well, no, they don't. Like at one time, I didn't know how to do this. And I know there's a lot of new cooks out there, young cooks, that have never done pumpkin before, and they wouldn't know how to even start doing it. So that's why I do these videos. There, I got the strings out. Now I'm just pulling the, see the shell, the peeling right off of the pumpkin. Put it right in your pot. And this way too, your pumpkin doesn't come out watery like it does if you have to boil it in water. I don't like it when it comes out watery. But, you know, that's a bunch of pumpkin right there. And I think the one is all we're going to need for probably 2 or 3 pies. I don't remember whether it's a cup of pumpkin puree that you put in for 1 pie. Or I'll have to look at my recipe because I haven't fixed a pumpkin pie since last year. I only cook my pumpkin pies during pumpkin season, November, December, you know, that time of year. So a couple more minutes on that and we'll get that one out. Because I feel like if you had pumpkin pie all year round, it wouldn't make it special anymore. To me, pumpkin pie means Thanksgiving, it means Christmas or Halloween. It means special occasion. So if I ate it all the time, then it wouldn't be special anymore. Just like the pecan pie, the apple pies, you know. To me, when we break out the pies of any kind, usually it's because it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. My mom would bake lemon meringue pies off and on throughout the year, and we loved them. Those were some of the best pies you could eat. But yeah, you can see all those seeds out of 1 pumpkin, and I've still got this other little pumpkin. You think these little pumpkins don't have anything in them? You'll be surprised when you start getting the pumpkin flesh out and you start cooking your pies and stuff. You have a lot of pumpkin flesh in 1 little pumpkin. And a lot of times when I do buy pumpkins, I buy the smallest ones I can find. Or I might buy a small one, a medium, and a large, just to make a Thanksgiving or Halloween decoration with them. One more minute and we can get this one out. You can go ahead and be mashing it up. But you just mash it up just like you would mashed potatoes. Just get you a masher, or if you've got a food processor, you can put it in, do that. But you see videos all the time of people cooking pumpkin pies or doing a lot of different recipes with fresh pumpkin. But they show you the pumpkin puree after it's already made into puree. They don't show you how you cook that pumpkin and get your puree. So that's why I'm doing this one. I want some of these young cooks out there to know how to make your pumpkin puree, and it's just this easy. You don't have to wait for an hour to cook pumpkin. Get it out of that hot dish so it'll cool. So it'll take twice as long if I leave it in that hot dish. Oops. I mean, some people will go and just buy a can of pumpkin, and that's fine. But if you've got pumpkin growing in your yard or your garden, why not utilize your pumpkin? I mean, that's usually what you're growing the pumpkins for. Not just decorations, but you're growing them to cook your pumpkin pies and pumpkin cookies, whatever you're going to make with your pumpkin. And I've left some of these strings in them before and put them through the blender, and it still comes out kind of stringy. So I'd suggest getting all of the strings out. Oh, did I get the peeling off of that? Yeah. I'd suggest getting all of the strings that you can possibly get off of your pumpkin before you say you're done with it. Or before you mash it, because you don't want those strings in your pumpkin pie. Ooh, that's a hot peeling. You talk about a hot potato. This is a hot pumpkin, y'all. Woo! Hot pumpkin. But you just see how easy that comes right off. And those strings come out easier too. If there's strings left, like I said, just scrape your spoon over it lightly. You don't want to dig into it deep, because if you do, you're going to take all your pumpkin. Just do it lightly to get your strings off, just like that. And those strings will come out. It's hot. Oop, I don't want to put it in there. Yeah, this is a really good way to get those strings. And you don't have to work to death to scrape them out of the raw pumpkin. You don't have to have muscles to do it. Whew, it's hot. Yeah, it's a lot better if you let that cool before you try to do anything with it. But for time's sake, for the video, I'm speeding it up, and I'm handling it hot. Put it that way. Then all you do is, like I had already started doing here, take your potato masher and just mash it up just like you would mashed potatoes. Get all the lumps out. And if your pumpkin is cooked for 7 minutes, it's not going to take that long to mash it up. You'll have pumpkin cream before you know it. Or mashed pumpkin. But there you go, y'all. That's mashed pumpkin right there. And that's what you need. That is your pumpkin puree right there. It's not rocket science. It's not hard to do. Just cooked pumpkin mashed together. We're all mashed. And then you can store what you don't use in freezer bags. You can scoop some in freezer bags. You can put it in small plastic freezer-proof containers. And you can freeze it, because I freeze it every year. A lot of times I have so much pumpkin, I've fixed all my pies, I fixed all my pumpkin spice muffins, and I don't want any more pumpkin right at that time. So I put it in containers or a plastic or a freezer bag, and I put it in the freezer, and that way I can take it out anytime I want to make pumpkin spice muffins or pumpkin pie or anything that calls for pumpkin puree to be used in. I've got it. Okay? So, remember, try cooking. Get you a pumpkin, get you some pumpkin puree, make your own, and then you can make your pumpkin pies. And I'll do another video on doing my pie. I'll probably even do one on doing the pie crust. But yeah, it's not rocket science, y'all. Just get a pumpkin, do like you saw me do, cut it in strips or cut it in chunks, put it in a microwave safe bowl. If you don't have a lid for that bowl, wrap it with saran wrap. Keep it airtight, and then be careful when you take that saran wrap off, because it'll put out a hot steam and you can get burnt real easy. I use my lids to my bowls because I do have them. I've got a couple of bowls that I've got lids to that have survived, so I use my lids instead of the plastic wrap. But there you go, y'all. Make you some pumpkin puree so you can have pumpkin pies, pumpkin spice muffins, and therefore, it's not rocket science. Bless y'all. Have a good day. I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.